Katherine started to become concerned after she noticed two unattended children going into the forest for 2 consecutive days towards an abandoned house. She decided to find out why to make sure they weren't in any trouble. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. Katherine Adams is a 35-year-old widow. She and her husband were lawyers, and they both enjoyed walking in the forest and did so every weekend. Katherine continued on with this routine even after her husband died, as she believed it kept him close to her in a way. One particular month, she realized she saw 2 children walking through the forest in the same direction without adult supervision. They were there when she hiked on a Saturday and the very next day as well. The children were clearly born years apart. The girl looked to be about 14, while the boy looked to be around 8 years old. They looked alike and were well dressed in neatly pressed clothing and new-looking shoes. To make sure the kids weren't in any trouble, Katherine decided to follow them. She observed them going into an abandoned house where they spent some time. As Katherine stepped closer, she decided to look into the window. There, she saw a man dressed in old, ragged clothes giving both children a tight hug. She ran in thinking they were being taken advantage of and threatened to call the police. "What are you doing to these children? Let them go or I'll call the police," she demanded. The man and both children were surprised to see somebody else in the house with them. "Why would you call the police? Is it wrong for a man's children to visit him after his wife kicked him out of the house? Is it because I look like I'm up to no good?" the man asked. "Please don't call the police," the little boy cried. "This is our dad. Our mom banned him from visiting us, so we've been finding ways to visit him instead. We love him so much and don't want to live our lives without him," he explained. Realizing her mistake, Katherine quickly apologized. "I'm so sorry for judging you wrongly. I was just alarmed that 2 unattended children were wandering the woods and ended up in an abandoned house with a man. I'm sorry for misreading the situation. It's all right. You had good intentions," the man replied. "I'm Arnold. This is my daughter Anna and my son Carl. Come sit. Let's have some tea," he said, offering Katherine a chair. Katherine smiled and agreed to stay. It was the least she could do after barging in on them uninvited. While they were drinking, Arnold explained that the house was his great-grandfather's. He didn't want to end up in the streets, so he settled for a house in the middle of the forest instead. "I hope you don't mind me asking, Arnold, what happened with your wife?" Katherine asked. "Well, I was retrenched from my job because the company I was working at filed for bankruptcy. No other company is hiring because of the state of the economy, so I ended up jobless. My wife was furious and kicked me out of the house. She filed for divorce and got custody of the children," he revealed. "I'm sorry to hear that," Katherine said. Then she turned to the kids and asked them a question. "Do you want to live with your dad?" "Yes," they both responded confidently. "Our mom found a man to replace Dad as soon as she kicked him out. I think they'd been seeing each other even before she decided to leave Dad. Since then, she honestly just stopped caring about us. All she wanted to make sure of was that our dad wouldn't get custody," Anna told Katherine. Katherine was determined to help them. She let them know that she was a lawyer and that she wanted to take over their case pro bono. They battled in court, and Arnold won the case. After Katherine provided sound evidence that Arnold was a responsible and loving dad, the court granted their appeal and returned him half of the ex-couple's conjugal property and custody of their 2 children. "Thank you, Katherine. You changed our lives forever," Arnold said as they got out of the courtroom. "You don't have to mention it. I'm glad I was able to do this for you," she replied with a smile. "I know it'll take a couple of days before they return your property back to you. If you'd like, the 3 of you can stay at my house for the time being. I have extra rooms," Katherine offered. "That's very kind of you, Katherine." "Thank you, really. But before that, you must join my kids and me at our favorite restaurant. Today calls for a special celebration," Arnold said. In the coming days, Arnold and Katherine slowly started to get to know one another. Arnold revealed he was attracted to her since they'd met for the first time in the forest, and Katherine admitted the feeling was mutual. After his divorce from his ex-wife was finalized, Arnold and Katherine decided to get married. They ended up raising Anna and Carl together in a happy and loving home.